we doing, everybody? This is Splash of Gas with Dave Weichert, a NASCAR and racing podcast. What a show all three races put on in the Midwest of Kansas Motor Speedway this past weekend, as ARCA, O'Reilly, and Cup Series would all be in action and ready to rumble. The infield will be packed. Fans would have their grills with barbecue and coolers with beer. Race time in Kansas City. ARCA would be the first on the track. Gio Ruggiero, Daniel Dye, Gavin Boschele, Jack Wood, Cletus McFarland, Jade Avedisian, Lanie Buice, Destiny Spurlock, Isabella Robusto, plus many others would be ready. Saturday night O'Reilly Series would be in action. Can Junior Motorsports drivers of Justin Allgaier, Sammy Smith, Carson Kvapil, plus William Byron in the 88 for this one keep their hot streak alive? Or will the talent of Jesse Love, Brandon Jones, Taylor Gray, or Austin Hill take them down? Cup Series would be the main event for Sunday. Kyle Larson, Denny Hamlin, Chase Elliott, Joey Logano, Tyler Reddick would each be looking for the win. Yellow flag, green flag, discussions with Dave, NASCAR history time, paint scheme of the week, interviews with Cole Custer, and that's not all the racing action. We bring on Tyler Truex as the modified season gets underway at Wall Stadium and throughout the Northeast. Predictions for Talladega, and so much more on this episode of Splash of Gas. As always, we're sponsored by Magical Travel with Dave, aka Disney Dave Weichert, my father. He will be able to help you with all your Disney and Universal vacation needs. He can be reached at DisneyDaveW@Verizon.net. Please make sure you follow all the Splash of Gas social medias for midweek and on-track updates. Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube are all Splash of Gas with Dave Weichert. Now for the ARCA Series recap. ARCA would get going on Saturday early afternoon to start the day's on-track action. Jack Wood and Gio Ruggiero would bring the pack to green. Wood leads early. Several yellows will fly. Daniel Dye, Gio Ruggiero each take turns up front. The pair restart with 42 laps to go. 24 laps to go. Tough break for Cletus McFarland as he has an oil line go out, which would send others spinning. Gavin Boschele and Ruggiero restart with 19 to go. Gio going to the lead. But 5 laps later, Jack Wood gets by Ruggiero. 3 laps to go. Gio gets into the back of Destiny Spurlock, bringing out the yellow. Overtime restart. Jack Wood and Daniel Dye on the front row, with Gio Ruggiero and Lanie Buice ready to strike on the second row. Who would take the win? They go 4 wide into turn 1. Gio muscles his way into the lead from the inside. Jack Wood goes spinning in turn 3 onto a second overtime. Ruggiero and Dye restart. Gio gets the jump and leads. Dye is able to get close, but Ruggiero is able to hold him off and win in Kansas. Now for trivia question time. This episode's question is: Jeff Gordon, Kevin Harvick, Jimmy Johnson, Kyle Larson, Joey Logano all have each 3 wins at Kansas. There is one driver all time with 4 previous wins at Kansas. Name that driver. Answer coming at the end. Now for the O'Reilly Series recap from Kansas. Qualifying and practice would each get rained out. Lineup would be based off the metric, meaning Carson Kvapil and William Byron bring the race to green. Kvapil leads, but mayhem would occur moments later as Byron touches Carson slightly, but in a bad spot. Air gets underneath Carson Kvapil, sending him barrel rolling down the track, landing on his roof. Glad Carson was okay. Definitely a scary wreck. Corey Day and Justin Allgaier restart. Day leads into the planned yellow on lap 20, as there was no practice or qualifying. Brandon Jones and Taylor Gray restart, then again on lap 43 with 2 laps to go in stage 1 after Austin Hill and William Byron tangle. Jones gets the lead and goes on to win the first stage. Anthony Alfredo and Jeb Burton restart the pack back to green for stage 2. But Brandon Jones retakes the lead 3 laps later. Alfredo hits the wall on lap 64, bringing out the yellow again. Jones and Jesse Love restart. Jones again powers to the top spot off turn 2. Rest of the middle stage stays green, and Brandon Jones wins stage 2. Brandon Jones and Sheldon Creed restart for the third and final stage. Then again several laps later after Sammy Smith spins. Creed gets the jump and leads as Taylor Gray moves to second. Creed and the rest of the leaders pit on lap 147. 6 laps later, Taylor Gray takes the lead with Creed in second. 20 to go. Gray still leads as his lead on Sheldon Creed shrinks slightly. 6 to go. Gray has issues passing lap traffic. 3 to go. His lead shrinks to 0.3 seconds over Sheldon. Could Gray hold him off? Yes, he could. Taylor Gray is victorious in Kansas. Now for the Cup Series recap. Cup Series would be able to get their qualifying in, and it would be all Toyota, as Tyler Reddick wins the pole alongside Denny Hamlin. The two take the field to green. After a couple laps of battling, Hamlin would clear for the lead. Denny would retake the lead on lap 41 after the first pit cycle. Rest of the stage stays green, and Hamlin wins, followed by Kyle Larson and Tyler Reddick. Hamlin and Larson restart for stage 2. Kyle gets a surge and leads. Denny falls to third as Tyler Reddick gets up to second. Larson retakes the lead once the pit cycle is completed. Hamlin takes back the second spot, but Kyle stays strong and wins the middle stage. Who would take the third and final stage in Kansas? Hamlin and Christopher Bell restart. Bell takes the lead. Next pit cycle starts on lap 214. After the cycle completes, 10 laps later, Denny Hamlin goes back to the lead. 15 to go. Hamlin still leads, but Tyler Reddick is within a half second of him. 3 laps later, Tyler Reddick passes Denny for the top spot. 5 laps to go. Reddick brushes the wall, and Hamlin takes back the lead. A lap later, Cody Ware spins as a tire goes out. After no yellows for incidents the whole day, with 4 to go, the yellow flies, pushing the race into overtime. All lead lap cars pit. Denny Hamlin is the first off pit road, and just like he did, along with many, Denny takes 2 tires. Chase Briscoe is the first to take 4 tires. He restarts 11th. Who would take it? Hamlin and Reddick restart. Kyle Larson surges inside of Hamlin, and Larson takes the lead. Final lap, Larson comes out of turn 2, but Reddick would be hot on his bumper. Final turn, Tyler Reddick gets by Kyle Larson when it counts most, and Tyler Reddick scores his 5th win of the season in Kansas. Quick look back at the predictions we made for Kansas. ARCA went with Jack Wood. He finishes 18th and 7 laps down. O'Reilly went with William Byron. He makes contact with his JRM teammate Carson Kvapil for the day. Early, Willie B finishes 6th. Cup picked Ryan Blaney. He comes home 24th. Yellow flag, green flag time. ARCA, solid day for Lanie Buice in the 77. She finishes 5th. Yellow flag, O'Reilly. Willie B. Contact early to the 1 of Carson Kvapil. Not intentional by William by any means, but unfortunately for his JRM teammate for the day, Carson Kvapil, he goes flipping down the track. Glad Carson is okay. Green flag, O'Reilly. First win of the year for Joe Gibbs driver Taylor Gray, uprooting the strong JRM cars. Yellow flag, Cup. One thing I did not mention on the Cup Series recap, after Chase Briscoe restarted 11th, being the first car on 4 fresh tires, Briscoe goes on to finish 3rd. Yellow flag to Chris Gale, Denny Hamlin's crew chief. Hamlin, who had the first pit stall, would realistically have restarted 4th if he takes 4 tires. Denny wins that race if he does that, in my opinion. Green flag, Cup Series, 45 of 23.11, beats his boss at the end, Denny Hamlin. Tyler Reddick, as we just mentioned, 5th win of the year. He is on a heater for sure. Sky's the limit for the 45 team right now. Now for discussions with Dave, part 1. Thoughts on the Cup Series finish. Up until the end of the race, the Kansas race had its moments for sure. Exciting passing earlier between Reddick and Hamlin. Hamlin was real dominant early. Larson obviously in the middle stage. But up until that point towards the end of the race, it really was a little bit of a boring race. But as the laps counted down, Tyler Reddick catches Denny Hamlin. Then with 5 to go, Reddick hits the wall. Hamlin passes him. Cody Ware has a tire go out. Yellow flies, putting the race into overtime. As I mentioned in yellow flag, green flag, Denny was the first out of the pits with 2 tires, but he was the first out of the pits by several seconds. He had one of the last pit boxes, and if he takes 4 tires, he's realistically going to restart 4th, maybe 5th at the worst. We saw what Chase Elliott was able to do last year in overtime on 4 tires. Chase Briscoe starts 11th, gets up to 3rd. In the end, what happened. Would I want to see what Denny could have done on 4 new tires? Yes, I would have. But that's racing. Going back to the yellow that pushed the race into overtime, Denny Hamlin was talking about this on his podcast during the week after the race. He says he has no ill feelings and likes racing with Cody Ware, thinks he's a respectable racer and driver. Throughout runs, as they got longer, we saw guys run into tire issues. Tires, 40 laps in, really started to wear. At that point in the race, at the end, Cody Ware was on tires that were 60 laps old. Denny highlighted that on his show, as we were just saying. If that caution doesn't come out, Denny realistically goes on to win that race. Hamlin did kind of point the finger at Rick Ware Racing for leaving Cody on those old tires, but that's racing. I mean, and no offense to Rick Ware Racing, I mean, they are a lower budget cup team, but they're there every week working their tails off, just like anyone else, trying to make it happen. Really don't fault them for trying to push those tires at the end of the race. Just try to finish and get back in the trailer, head out. Unfortunately, the tires didn't last and they spun, bringing out the yellow. That yellow definitely made the race exciting, pushing it into overtime, have that strategy war with the pit stops, and then the overtime restart was great. You have a last turn pass by Tyler Reddick. In the end, a little bit of a boring race to start, but it really came to life in the end. Discussions with Dave. ARCA Series thoughts. The incident between Gio Ruggiero and Destiny Spurlock, which then put the race into an overtime, which then went into a second overtime, was a racing move. And in the end, Gio was the great beneficiary. If that yellow doesn't come out, we're probably looking at Jack Wood in the 28 in victory lane. And that's an incident that, say if it was miscommunication between the spotter, but that's something that you see at the ARCA level. Young drivers trying to learn, obviously, and luckily Gio's car wasn't damaged and he goes on to win the race. Now looking at the guy that finished second, that's Daniel Dye. This was Dye's first race since being suspended and then resigning from college racing at the truck level. Dye goes on to finish second. We know how strong that Joe Gibbs ARCA car is that Ruggiero won in Kansas, but also won at the season opener in Daytona. As a race fan and a human, good to see Dye back at the track in his own element. More on Daniel in DWD Part 2. Moving right along, O'Reilly Series thoughts. Was Byron too aggressive to start the race, which triggered the wreck with Kvapil? Yes and no. We know the amount of wins that Byron got in the then Xfinity Series, now O'Reilly, and of course, at the Cup level, winning 2 Daytona 500s. Byron even said pre-race that the O'Reilly cars have changed slightly since he was running them full-time. You have no practice or qualifying, and the move, the bump that he gave to Carson wasn't egregious or uncalled for. The race just started, right? A little bit of a perfect storm, even for an experienced Cup driver like Byron. And unfortunately, that's the way the cookie crumbled for Carson Kvapil. O'Reilly race was kind of a little bit opposite of the Cup race. A lot of action and yellows early in O'Reilly. It ends on a long green flag run. Does get exciting. Sheldon Creed almost catches Taylor Gray at the end. So you have that to keep you going. This is also Gray's first win of the 2026 season. With how strong the JRM cars have been this season, Gray shows his strength in the 54 Joe Gibbs car. Also think we will see Gray back in victory lane sooner than later. Last topic on discussions with Dave, part 1. Stage length changes at Talladega. Just like any NASCAR fan, when the series go to a super speedway, Daytona, Talladega, man, anything can happen as we know, and it's just so exciting. But on the other side of that, recently, last several years, the last stage, which, in stage racing, the third and final stage is always going to be the longest. NASCAR said, not so much. We would specifically see in the super speedways, teams really go into fuel-saving mode in these final stages leading up to that final pit stop, and things really don't get turned on sometimes until, 15, 10 to go, where drivers are then having to make it happen. And in those situations, when there's not a yellow to split those pit cycles up, it can kind of be a little bit boring. You kind of wince because guys aren't running their throttles at 100%. They're really trying to save gas. NASCAR has decided to change that in Talladega for 2026. And it sounds like at the super speedways moving forward, Stage 1 on Sunday will be 60 laps. Stage 2 will be 60 laps. And Stage 3 will be 68 laps. Which, after Stage 2 ends, couple yellow flags for the pit cycle, will probably be very close to that 60 lap mark. Very intrigued to see how this affects the racing, especially in the last stage. Assuming drivers are going to push it a little bit more, hoping for great racing. We'll talk more on the effects of this next episode. Now for paint scheme of the week. As you've been listening, been recently going to a lot of throwback paint schemes. Not for this week. Was announced Front Row Motorsports, number 4, driven by Noah Gragson. As we know, Front Row is sponsored by Grillo Pickles. You see Todd Gilliland in the pickle car a lot. And it's a really cool logo. You have an animated pickle. But for Talladega, Grillo's Pickles is teaming up with PBR, Pabst Blue Ribbon Beer. They are making a pickled flavored beer, and that is sponsoring Noah Gragson. If you haven't seen this car, the pickle beer car, as it says on the side of it, it's cool. I'll post it on my story later in the week. Hope y'all enjoy. Now for NASCAR history time. Talladega. Race car pirate. The phrase, drive it like you stole it, became all too literal at Talladega in 1986. I have talked about this story in previous years on History Time, specifically for Talladega, but man, as a NASCAR fan, this one just doesn't get old. Back to 86, a fan managed to steal the Pontiac Trans Am pace car in a bizarre and unforgettable incident. The intruder took the car for a joyride, circling the track nearly 2 full times. Before authorities could intervene, his lap times may not have counted, but the spectacle certainly grabbed everyone's attention. The escapade came to an abrupt end when law enforcement officers pulled the driver out of the stolen pace car quickly and things got moving forward towards the race. The culprit was later identified as a 20-year-old local who snuck onto the track on his motorcycle, turning what would have been a routine race day into one of Talladega's most unusual stories. Land speed record. Given its length and steep banking, it's no surprise that Talladega Superspeedway is NASCAR's fastest track. The all-time qualifying record for the Cup Series was set there in the spring of '87, when Hall of Famer Million Dollar Bill blistered the track at over 212 miles an hour for the Winston 500. In the end, Elliott's day in the race ended early due to engine issues, but that opened the door for rookie Davey Allison to capitalize on an opportunity and score his first Cup Series victory of his career. In the end, the land speed record was set. And now with then restrictor plates being involved on the super speedways, don't think anyone is going to catch Bill Elliott's record. That wraps up NASCAR history time for this week's episode. In the intro, we're talking how we'll shortly have on Wall Speedway 2025 modified champ Tyler Truex, and Tyler and I will go over all the exciting news that Wall Speedway has recently unveiled. A little sneak peek, Wall Speedway is now a sanctioned NASCAR track, the first time since '07. A lot of changes have been made, and the effects are positive. Really hope if you're in the New Jersey or Northeast area that you get out to Wall Stadium sometime in 2026. Their opening night is being planned for this upcoming Saturday, April 25th. Throughout the season, you'll have the modifieds run there, sportsmen, factory stocks, 4-cylinders, legends, and TQs. Hope to see you at Wall soon. Now here's my chat with Tyler Truex. Enjoy. Next driver we bring back onto the show, big friend of Splash of Gas, none other than 2025 Wall Modified champ, Tyler Truex. Thanks for joining again, man.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. Last spoke to you on the show after the AC indoor race. Sometimes off seasons can be busier than in season. Know that you had your hands full getting ready for this season and still do, but since the trailer closed at AC, how have you been getting ready for 2026?
Well, just a lot of moving parts this off season between, like you said, winning the championship at the end of last year. We had Jim Wolf, a partner of ours for a while. He owned a couple cars. He's owned cars for a long time now. One of his cars became available to drive, and we brought that down to our shop and kind of been running through it this winter and getting everything ready for the season. We got the body repainted and stuff, just to more out colors with how I've always ran the cars. Yeah, and then my car that I won the championship with, we ended up picking up a tour motor, and we converted that over to a tour type modified. So, like you said, there's just been a lot of moving things in the process of having that car in the shop, and then the other car out getting updates on it and stuff like that. So, it's been a busy winter to say the least. There wasn't much of an off season for us.
Gotcha. That's great news. That you'll be running 2 cars. Sounds like you'll be running a good amount of tour events.
Yeah, it looks like we got a lot on the schedule. It looks like around 35 races this year, between the 20 or so races at Wall Stadium full time, and then like 14 or 15 different tour type shows. Not saying we're gonna hit them all. It's just kind of a tentative schedule, something that, like, if it doesn't interfere with any of the schedules. So those are the goals. Like I said, Dover Contracting's helped me out tremendously in my career, and we picked up a tour motor between the two of us this past winter to be able to travel a little bit and do our own thing. We didn't really know what the deal was with Wall Stadium. Thank God that everything worked out with the track and everything seems to be great. It's going to be a great year there. But we're getting our ducks in a row to try and be able to do things other than Wall. So it kind of worked out in our favor. Jim Wolf lives right up the road from Wall. So it's kind of like in his backyard. So we're going to run his car full time at Wall. So that way he's always there, and it's home for him too. It's home for me, it's home for him. And then we're going to take my car and do a little bit of traveling with it and just try to go play around, just have fun. I'd like to try different tracks. The past 6-7 years I've been just pretty much mainly at Wall every week. So it'd be nice to be able to venture out some and go explore.
Yeah, for sure. We've talked about that, that you're thinking about adding more races and stuff. And yeah, super excited for you to have those opportunities. And then, getting into the exciting news about Wall. Unfortunately for, most of our lives, as a kid growing up, like year in, year out, is it going to be open next year? Was announced a couple months ago that there would become a NASCAR sanctioned track. I think the first time since '07. As we saw at the practice, many improvements. Last time we were talking, you talked about how important Wall is not only to you, but your family. Seems like a lot of people are excited for this season out there.
Yeah, like you said, with NASCAR getting more involved, and they really ramped up their social media and getting more engaged, and just all the updates, like you said, right? It's crazy how much 6 months turnaround for a racetrack can do. It takes money, it takes some time, it takes effort, and they've put all the pieces together right now. Not saying they're spending millions of dollars to do it. They're just doing the right things in the right places. And it's good people that have all good intentions. So they're all racers, which really is nice. They in a way, it's nice to have a racer up there and racers in the officiating stuff, just because they all do know. They've been on both ends of the spectrum. So it's nice to have that new life all across the track, that I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, it's we haven't really got to soak up much of the championship end, so hopefully this season will be cool there as far as being the defending champion. I'm excited to get back.
Heck yeah. Just like you said, great group of people and racers running it. So excited for that and getting into the racing side of things. A long season to play out, of course. A lot of racing to be had. How are you going to defend your Wall Mod title in 2026?
Just kind of go into the season like we've done every single year, right? Like I told a lot of people that I've talked to about it is we've always been in the fight. Nothing changed this past year. People were saying that it just seemed like we're more up front every week and stuff. Well, there was a lot of times where I had electrical issues, or I was staring at my gauges because I was overheating, or we had just so many little issues all year. Like I finished second in points like 4 years ago now. Third in points, actually, set by just a couple of points. But there was a couple of races in that season that I could have pointed a finger at 5 that would have changed everything, and we could be sitting here as a 2-time champ, So it's like I don't think much changed other than just consistency last year. So getting back to that this year, I just do the same thing we've been doing. I just hopefully with this new car, we don't run into all them issues, all them gremlins. it seemed like all them gremlins we finally got out of the 69, and the results started showing. We finally were able to finish races. We were able to finish a race, take them notes into the next race. That's the big thing too. Is it's when you end on the hook, it kind of puts you right back to square one. You can be a bullet for 1 week, end up on the hook, and chase that same setup the entire season. So, like I said, we were just really fortunate last year to finish races, and I feel like I'm a consistent driver to where if I can just finish, we usually finish decent. But that can all change this year. There's going to be a lot of guys. There's going to be a lot in motion with NASCAR, new tire, American racer, new car for me. So yeah, I'm excited. New number. We're going to have a new number. I'm going to be running the 56 family number, just because my crew chief, Kevin, he's the one who's set it up forever. It's been the guy that's done everything for the family as far as the modified end. And he's been the guy for me. So when we were getting Jim Wolf's car, we were kind of deciding on what to do for a number. So, yeah, Kevin came up with the idea. Instead of running the 69, maybe he wanted to run the 56. So I'm sure a lot of people will be excited about that one.
Heck yeah, that's awesome news. Super exciting. Obviously, a lot of history with that number in your family, and especially at Wall. You just kind of took the words out of my next question. You and crew chief Kevin Kramer have working together for a long time now. What's it like working with him on race day and trying to execute the best out there?
It's awesome. Like Kevin thinks of me as a son at this point. He's done a lot for me in my personal life as far as he's been working on, like I said, the family race cars for 40 years. So for me personally, he's been in the shop. I've watched him work on my brother's stuff, Ryan's stuff. We went down south and worked on all Ryan's legend cars and late model stuff. He's just devoted his entire life to this family. And he really spends a lot of time with us trying to make me fast. And I'm glad last year I was able to show it for him because, like I said, he spends a lot of hours here, a lot of time in my garage trying to make sure everything's right. It's not easy. And it takes a lot of work, so, and Kevin knows how I like to drive, which is the biggest thing, right? Like I've driven a couple cars and I didn't like how it felt. And, there was a couple people that were like, that would go back to Kevin and ask him like, what's he like? Like, what is it? And he kind of, it's nice to have somebody like that in my corner. And he's, like I said too, he thinks of me as a son. So we come off the racetrack sometimes, and he'll tell me, "You suck." What was that like? What are you doing out there? And you need that, right? Like I don't want somebody to always sugarcoat it. I don't need somebody to tell me that, yeah, you looked good. No, we sucked. Why? So yeah, he takes pride in it, and I'm thankful for him.
That's great. You have that support system and relationship with him, and really do appreciate you touching on those specifics there. And then getting back into the 56. The 56 back a Wall driven by a Truex. What does that mean to you?
I really didn't think about it. When Kevin said it, it was just another number in the family to me. Then I got thinking about it as far as the fan base and just what Martin did with that number, as far as that to the national level and everything with my Uncle Martin passing away and being able to represent him as well at Wall is a big honor as well. So it's going to be cool. Like I said, I didn't really think about it until somebody I mentioned it to was like, oh, no way. And then I kind of got thinking about it as far as all the fans and just like you said, right? When you hear Truex, you kind of do think of the 56. Not that I want to ever be right. I like being my own person, being,
of course,
making my own legacy. But as far as that wall, and it'll be cool. Hopefully it'll bring a lot of fans to us. I mean, publicity is not bad publicity either way you get it. So yeah, I'm excited. Like I said, it's more of a family number to me. It's more honoring Kevin and what he's done with the family. Hopefully we run good with it, and yeah, and hopefully Martin enjoys it. It'll be cool. Like I said, represent his father and him. He's retired now, and he's more around the area than he's ever been. So hopefully I can get him to come to the racetrack, watching the 56 go around the track, or I'm sure he'll be excited to see it, and he always keeps tabs on how we do and everything. So yeah, I'm sure he'll enjoy seeing it out there as well.
That's awesome. As a lifelong wall guy, it's really going to be cool to see that number back on the track, driven by you. So really appreciate going into the details with that and your family. You were at the practice on Saturday. You were there today. Don't want you to give up any secrets. I mean, obviously, you mentioned getting the new car tuned up for Wall this year. But what was it like being back on the high banks the last couple of days?
I love it. It's my favorite track. I mean, it's like you said, the high banks. We got 15-inch tires in these modifieds and over 500 horsepower. I mean, to be able to drive a race car around that place as fast as we get around there is cool. In general, just to be able to go run laps is fun. But getting to the seriousness of it, yeah, I mean, just getting the bugs out. Like I said, I've been so used to my 69 and that older stuff. I mean, not older, but my chassis, like I said, I won the championship last year, and my brother won in that same car in the Garden State Classic in 03 or 04. So 22 years later, and actually that Garden State Classic, Stephen Reed finished second to my brother. 22 years later, we were just able to sneak out a championship over Stephen Reed. He ran great all last year, but I mean, that car is 22 years old and 22 years later on that same racetrack, which is really cool. So that I just was really used to that car. I jived with that car. Kevin set that race car up for 22 years. It sat in my garage for a while until I got racing. But yeah, so he knows all that. So getting back to this car, we just got to get the bugs out of it. I got to learn this new chassis. It's 2017. Everything geometry-wise is different for me and Kevin. It's not nothing that he doesn't know as far as setting them up, just for me personally. The new tire, it's a lot harder tire this year. I mean, last year we were on the Hoosiers, and they're like gumballs compared to this real hard tire. So I'm a little snug. I talked to a lot of guys, and everybody seems pretty snug, which is nice to hear for my notebook. But like I said, Kevin, I got all the faith in the world in Kevin, and we've been fine-tuning last week. We picked up speed from the last practice to this one. So, like I said, I don't have any doubts we'll be up to speed, but it might take us a couple of weeks to just figure out everything. Like I said, you can be fast for 5 laps right now, but let's see what I am after 25, 30. So, we'll see. But everything else, like you said, with the facility, the people, the track, the American racers, everything went really smooth. I mean, everything around the facility and it's just going great. Wall's doing great, and hopefully it stays that way for a couple more years.
Yeah, got that right. I had a question about the American tire. You kind of answered it with saying how harder it was. Really interested just as a fan to see, once it gets warmer, I mean, the track temps go up, really how that tire takes effect. Excited to see how they can perform too.
Yeah, I'm excited, and it's nice. It's good for American Racer too, right? Like they're obviously trying to do right for the racers, and they've got a really good relationship with Wall Stadium this year. They've got a special tire just for Wall Stadium. No other track's going to run this tire. So they're working. Cool. They're working very close with the track. They've got a rep that's working close with our tire guy at the racetrack to provide the racer with a good tire, and they're going to be there a couple weeks trying to fine tune on the tire. So it's neat. It's neat for us racers to be able to do that as well. Work with a company like that, and then wanting to build a tire for us. Like I said, some of us were complaining about practice tire sizing. They went right to their rep, and they ended up getting they're going to change up the left side for us. So we never had that with Hoosier. Last year, we were lucky to even have enough tires if we had 20 cars to supply them all with a tire. So it was a lot. It's a lot bigger brand with Hoosier. I love the Hoosiers. They were a lot softer. You could really lay a lap time down. You could really run hard on them. But like I said, they were building tires across the country. They were just pumping them out. These American racers, they are too, but it's just at a smaller scale, And they're a little bit cheaper for the wallet for the racer. We're going to save a little bit of extra money each tire, which helps us a ton. Longevity, how much we spend on tires.
Yeah.
So that helps a lot. So, yeah, as far as I can see, American racers, I'm all for them. I'm excited for a new endeavor, and I think there should be another company out there.
Yeah, all about competition. That I did not know that they had were that into like having a specific rep at Wall and like making changes. No offense to Wall Speedway. That's really cool that they have someone doing that. I would have never thought in a million years that they would have a rep like that at Wall. But that's great news.
Yeah. There's really, like I said, there's really great, and that's just one of several news is for Wall Stadium. Like, they've got a lot of really good moving parts this year. The guy Pete, that's with the track, he's very invested with the track. He went all in on all the new concession stand stuff. You're gonna eat very healthy. He got all real healthy oils because he's a big into nutrition and stuff. So he just got, it's all decent stuff. No one's gonna eat crap food there. They're really trying to do a really nice thing there. So I'm excited. Like I said, I hope to represent them well. I hope to kind of promote it. I want to see that place sell out each week. We need it. Us racers are the ones who are going to keep that place there. If we don't spread the word and we don't keep talking about it, that's how it goes away. Bad news is not good news for that place. This is all it takes. All this good buzz around this track, you never know. You get the right people invested, you get the right people in place. This place could be around for the next 20, 30 years. But right now we're right on the fence. So all these good moving parts, we need to keep going. We need to keep the positive energy toward the track, and everything's going smooth for it. I'm excited.
Yeah, same here. Got to keep the momentum going. And last question. Course wins. Are at the top of every driver's goal. You said the first couple of races trying to get the bugs out of the new car. What are really your goals for the first half of the season at Wall? Really trying to get comfortable with the car, or what are yours and Kevin's game plan going to be?
Just be consistent. Try to be there at the end of those races. We got a 50 lapper to start the season, and then there's a couple big ones, a couple big races this year. So, I'd like to win the big races, the crown jewels, so called. There's a couple crown jewels that I'd obviously love to win. The Garden State is one of them. Like I said, when I really wanted that in the '69 car, because Curtis won that one. My brother when he ran my car. So, like I said, Turkey Derby, crown jewels, but obviously win. I want to go out there and win as much as I can. Winning is obviously what me and Kev want. But I feel like, I don't know. This year's different, right? I put a lot of pressure on myself with the last name and just a lot of people around me, a lot of support. I got a lot of people in my corner, Kevin helping me as much as he does. So I feel like I've always had a lot of weight on my shoulders. I feel like I try to carry it well, but it's tough, So this year's a little different. I won the championship. I feel like I've won a sportsman championship. I won the Wall Stadium Modified Championship. Not that I've done it all, but I feel like I've kind of proven myself at this point now. Like I don't have to keep trying to prove myself. So it sounds weird in a way, obviously, but it's just, I don't know. I just feel like I'm going to enjoy it a little bit more this year, kind of just relax. And I say that now until the week one we're a bag of balls and I want to go win. But, yeah, I don't know. I'm excited. Like, it's just nice going to the track now, not that it wasn't before. It's just a different mood.
Awesome. Yeah. Really hope you can soak it in. And last but not least, I mean, we at Splash of Gas, the podcast, we're on the car in AC. We're going to, but Splash of Gas is going to be on Tyler's car for the wall season. Just really pumped up for that as well. And really excited to spend the summer with you guys in the pits this year for sure.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, I really appreciate you jumping on board and wanting to help us out. And yeah, I'm looking forward to having you at the track and helping with everything. And you've really ramped up the social media stuff, and your podcast is going really well with all the drivers you're getting on it. And hopefully we can just keep building as a whole. It's going to be a fun year, I think. Like I 100%. Said, with all the buzz around wall and all the stuff that you're doing behind the scenes for me and my brand is huge. So you're only helping me in the background as far as getting this thing rolling, right? Like I think, like I said, Martin retiring, there needs to be some Truex out there running around, whether it's the short track scene or the national level. So and you're a key part on keeping that going. So I appreciate you jumping on board and helping us out.
Yeah, of course. Appreciate you guys as well. And we will see you soon at the track, Tyler, and really appreciate the time coming on, man.
Of course, anytime.
Yep.
Look forward to talking again soon.
Yeah, of course. Talk to you then.
See you, buddy.
See ya.
Great to catch up with Tyler. Hope you all enjoyed that one. Now for discussions with Dave, part 2. Daniel Dye to the Cup Series? Yes, you heard me right. Just 3 weeks ago, Daniel Dye and Kaulig Racing parted ways. Was not expecting that. Just talking in the ARCA recap, Daniel Dye, Kansas ARCA race was his first race back in any of NASCAR's series since he was suspended by NASCAR and then left Kaulig Racing. Dye goes on to finish second in the ARCA Kansas race. In all honesty, when Dye decided to step back from Kaulig, I didn't know what the rest of the season looked like for him. I was assuming maybe he would just stay low for the rest of the year and focus on his brand and on himself. Obviously not the case. With the ARCA start from Dye, expecting to hear news of more starts of the ARCA series, Dye, after the Kansas race, said he would be in the seat for Talladega, but wasn't 100% sure what his plans were after that. It was just announced this week that Daniel Dye will be joining Live Fast Motorsports, the team that BJ McLeod owns, piloting their number 78 entry in the Cup Series race in Talladega, plus 3 other races in the Cup Series throughout the rest of the season. Daniel has shown in the ARCA Series, Trucks, and Xfinity, he can race and contend on the bigger tracks. Was I expecting him to make the jump in Cup Series this year? No, not at all, and especially the way things transpired. Say if he never makes those comments about David Malukas, he probably doesn't have this opportunity with BJ. But I could be completely wrong. This could have been something that they've had in the works for a little bit. I'm not sure. But seems like since the split with Kaulig, Dye has been looking for rides, and he lands with Live Fast. Really intrigued to see how Dye bodes in his Cup Series debut this Sunday in Dega. More on that next week. Moving right along, we know that Cletus McFarland did not get cleared for the O'Reilly Series race at Talladega, But he is cleared to race in the ARCA Series there, and his buddy, none other than Squirrel McNutt, is cleared by NASCAR to run the ARCA Series race at Dega. We're going to see some shake and bake by Cletus and Squirrel. If that doesn't get you going, I don't know what will. Excited to see them. More O'Reilly news for McFarland was announced this week. Cletus will be making his next start in the O'Reilly Series in Nashville on May 30th. As we know, Cletus had several spinouts in Rockingham. Fortunately, doesn't wreck the car, doesn't wreck anyone else, and he keeps it clean. Nashville, a good intermediate track, another good place for him to get that seat experience that we've been talking about, that he's also mentioned that he greatly needs. If everything does go smoothly, I'm assuming we see Cletus race the second Talladega race and second Daytona race in August. Definitely will be monitoring that. Several driver announcements to touch upon. 2 for Talladega, specifically O'Reilly. Tyler Ankrum is set to make his O'Reilly Series debut at Talladega, driving the number 32 for Jordan Anderson Racing. Tyler, a veteran of the Truck Series, and guy that was in the Champ 4 last year in Phoenix, had a chance to run for a championship. Now will be stepping in the O'Reilly car. In all honesty, with the amount of time that Tyler's been in the Truck Series, I was kind of surprised he hasn't run an O'Reilly race previously. But he'll be getting into a quick Jordan Anderson car. We know with the wins with Jeb Burton with them in the past, that they're going to be quick on the motor speedways. If Tyler can keep that car clean, can he be there at the end? I don't see why not. Top 15, top 10, I think that's realistic. Another driver that will be hopping back in an O'Reilly car for Talladega is Natalie Decker. And just like she shared on our show several months ago, she is not afraid of the critics. Natalie Decker said, "Everyone's been telling me I belong in the kitchen, so I'm headed to Talladega to shake and bake." Love how Natalie can poke fun at her haters as well. Good for her. What can she do in that Joey Gase car? Not news for Talladega, but it was announced this week that SVG Shane Van Gisbergen will be driving the number 4 Chevy Silverado for Nice Motorsports when NASCAR goes to Watkins Glen in May. Next topic. When NASCAR announced their 2026 schedule, one track I was super pumped to be back on the schedule was Chicagoland. Still can't wait for that one. This past week, NASCAR held with Goodyear a tire test at Chicagoland, and that's normal, as we know, part of the sport. One of the cars that was out there was Ryan Blaney in his 12. They did also test several O'Reilly cars, and one of them was the 7 of Justin Allgaier. That's the news is in regards to Allgaier. There was an incident report. Reports indicate that Allgaier suffered a blown right front tire impact, turn 4 wall in Chicagoland Speedway. You can see the big stripe across the 7 and the right side of that car. Justin did get out. He was okay. No video of that crash, but by the report, I mean, having a right side tire go down, exiting turn 4 right into the wall, it's going to be a tough one. Will he be a little bit sore in the car in Talladega? Will that affect him? And also, most importantly for Goodyear, this was a tire test. Did this wreck happen late in the run, early in the run? Really unsure. Were they trying to push it? Obviously, Goodyear, if there was any issues, and as we've seen throughout the past couple years, Goodyear does change. They make improvements to the tire. So, if there was any issues, probably the best that happened in the test. That's the whole point of it, right? Just hope it doesn't negatively affect Allgaier for Dega. That wraps up this episode's edition of Discussions with Dave. Now for our interview with Cup Series driver Cole Custer. Here's what Cole had to say. Next guest we bring back on the Splash of Gas is driver of the 41 Chevy for the Haas Factory team in the NASCAR Cup Series is Cole Custer. Thanks for joining the show again, Cole.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, of course. Spoke to you last year, which was the first year for the Haas Factory team, a single car team at the Cup level. Four top 15s, 2 top 5s. How would you sum up your 2025, and what did you learn most from it?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was definitely a big building year with our first year as Haas Factory team. And like you said, being a single car team, there was a lot of change last year. So I think by the halfway point of the year, we started to find a little bit more speed and started to hit our stride a little bit more. And I think going into this year with the manufacturers change to Chevrolet, it's kind of the same story again. I think we're having to kind of, walk before we run a little bit and, get our feet underneath us. And hopefully by the summertime, we're able to start hitting our stride a little bit more.
Gotcha. You just mentioned that change from Ford to Chevy. How has that switch of manufacturers been for you?
Yeah, it's been good. I mean, I think the biggest thing for us is the alliance that you have as a small team, So we have an alliance this year with Hendrick Motorsports, and I think that's, we used to be with Hendrick back in the day with Haas, so it's exciting to be back with them, and I think there's a lot of room to grow with them.
Awesome. Appreciate you touching upon that. Just as you mentioned, second year with HFT, have the notebook from last year to expand on. Just 9 races in has been a little tough sledding. Just as you were mentioning with the manufacturer change to start the year. I mean, how are you in the 41 team going to get finishes further up in the field?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a matter of building on our notebook. I think we've gone to, each type of racetrack now, and now it's a matter of how do we, look back at these races and figure out what do we need to do better from them. So I think we have, some spots where we showed some brightness, when we look at our days. It's just a matter of how do we do that all weekend and consistently. So I think we have some great people that can work the problems, and it's been fun, trying to build this team into being what we want to be. So hopefully by the time we hit the summertime, you'll see us start moving up the scoreboard a little bit.
Heck yeah. Love to see that for you as well. I was out in Bristol 2 weekends ago. That was my first time out there. Drove out and was from New Jersey. Was camping out there. Really crazy how banked that track was. What's it like racing out there?
It's definitely one of the craziest places we go. Bristol, like you said, the high banking, it's a coliseum, so there's stands all around it. There's just nothing like it. For any fan, it's a bucket list track to go to, and then for any driver or person on a team, it's a place everybody wants to win at, because you get a sword if you win there. It's just a place that people put a lot of pride into. So it's always fun going there.
For sure. Definitely had a blast throughout the whole weekend. Moving into this past weekend in Kansas, double duty for the Midwest out for you. This is the second of 5 planned races in the O'Reilly Series for this season. Throughout your career, you have raced double duty, a lot. Is there anything extra that you do to prepare for a doubleheader, and how was it? How do you feel in the O'Reilly car as a past series champ?
Yeah, I think it's definitely a little bit more work during the week. You just have to study a lot more and be prepared to run both cars, because they're so much different. The Cup cars are the next gen car now that have so many differences with the tire, the aero. The wheels are single lug, not 5 lug. There's just so many differences between the two cars that you really have to relearn, and how to drive a little bit, going to the other cars. So it's definitely a lot of fun running those O'Reilly races, because you're able to slip and slide around, but it is challenging because you have to go between two cars that are so much different.
Gotcha. I heard guys talk about that before. The changes, the differences from Cup to O'Reilly. They didn't realize how much extra work that you had to put into that. That's really neat. And then last Saturday, no practice or qualifying, so you start from the rear. End up getting up to top 10 P7 finish there when all was said and done. This is just your second race was with SS Greenlight, but what's it like working with those guys, and how would you sum up your day last Saturday?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I think going back to running the O'Reilly Series, where I've had a good amount of success, and those cars, like I said before, you're able to slide them around, run against the wall. It's just a lot of fun driving those cars. So it's been fun, and hopefully we can build off that and try and get some top fives here later on in the year with the rallies cars.
Awesome. And I mean, I as I said last time, was a big fan of yours when you were coming up in the Xfinity, in the 00. Does it feel weird that you only have 10 on the car this year?
It is different, yeah. I mean, it's weird being out there and you see the other, the 00 out there and you're not driving it. But yeah, I mean, it's I'll take whatever number they give me. Whatever is fine with me.
I gotcha. Just wanted to ask that. Moving into the Cup Series action from Kansas, race had no incidents until the end. Long green flag runs throughout the race, leading into the overtime. It seemed like some of the teams were battling with tires out there. What was the tire fall off for you, and how would you sum up your day again with the P25 finish on Sunday?
Yeah, I mean, they definitely wore a lot. The right side tires, both of them were very high wear, but you really didn't notice it until maybe 5 laps to go until you had to pit, so they were all good and not really much fall off, and then all of a sudden they fall off huge or pretty much wear out and cord up. So it was definitely interesting, and I think you saw that at the very end of the race with one car, having their tire issues. So we'll see. I mean, we'll see when we come back in the fall if it'll be the same like that.
Definitely, we'll be watching that for sure. This upcoming weekend, Cup Series heads to Talladega. You had 2 of your best runs last year there, 13th in the spring, 5th in the fall. Don't want you to give up any secrets, but come green flag, I mean, anything specific that you're looking for, in a drafting partner, or just trying to survive to the end?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest things in these races, if you can survive to the end, you will be in a good spot, probably. Usually there's a huge wreck where half the field wrecks, and if you can find your way by that, you're going to be in a good spot. So we were good at, putting ourselves in good position at the end of the races last year. Had a lot of good super speedway races, so hopefully we can build off that and put ourselves in position again.
Awesome. NASCAR has adjusted the stage length for this one, and assuming moving forward for the super motor speedways in regards to the fuel savings, do you think this is going to have any effect on the racing Sunday?
I think for sure. I mean, the last 2 stages, I think you're going to be racing hard the whole time and not really worrying about fuel savings much. I mean, maybe a few laps, but it won't look at all like how the races have looked in the past, I feel like. So the first stage, I don't know what it's going to look like, honestly. I don't know if anybody does. It's a length that you can kind of see it go both ways. I think you could see it being a lot of fuel saving, or you could see it everybody going hard and two-stopping the first stage. So it'll be interesting. I don't know exactly what that first one's going to look like, but I know that halfway through the race, we're going to be racing hard.
Same, yeah. Really kind of really interested to see how things play out with that, and I think it's a good change, as you said. Some of the recent motor speedway racers are just kind of saving until it's go time at the end. So I think it's a good move. You have been in the sport for a while. I mean, through all 3 series since you started until now. I mean, where are some things you feel like you have improved as a driver?
Definitely in the way you work with your team. I think there's a lot to be said in motorsports about how you work with your team. I think a lot of times people just think of the driver, and we're the ones with our faces up there and on the big screen and everything, but you have to be able to work with your team really well to have success in the Cup Series. You have to be able to fix problems, get the car better when you need it better. And even on the bad days, you got to figure out how to communicate with your team to move the needle in the right direction. So I think that's a skill that you learn over time.
Awesome. Appreciate you touching upon that. Your 2 other teammates at the Haas Factory team, Sheldon Creed, Sam Mayer, have been, lighting it up, or have had a good season so far. And on the O'Reilly Series side, what's it like to work with those 2 guys?
It's been a lot of fun. I mean, I think both of them have a lot of talent. I mean, both of them have shown that they can go out there and win races when they have everything underneath them that they need. So I think it's been fun to see their progression. Sam, had a great year last year. And I think Sheldon this year, you can see how much that team has learned to get the feel that he needs in the car, and they're really starting to have some great races this year. So it's been fun, and they're two great guys to work with that are easygoing, and it's just it's been awesome to see them have success and keep that rolling.
Heck yeah, it was that Atlanta win for Sheldon was super exciting, and spoke to him after. So that was really cool. And appreciate you touching upon both of those guys. And last question, I mean, for you in the 41, the rest of the regular season, I mean, what are your team's goals?
I think for us, I mean, we definitely want to see some improvement. We want to be in the top 25, up, top 20, consistently throughout weekends, I think is the biggest thing. And I think, we have the potential to get there. I think, we've shown flashes of having the speed we need to be competitive with the best of them. It's just a matter of how we, do that consistently and consistently unload where we need to. So hopefully we can build off it and keep moving in the right direction.
Awesome. Sounds like your guys are doing that already. And safe travels to Alabama. Best of luck on Sunday, and hope to talk to you before the season ends, Cole. Really appreciate your time, man.
Awesome. Thanks for having me on.
Yep, you too. Have a good one.
Always great to catch up with Cole. Appreciate his time. Now, the drivers to look out for Talladega, starting with the ARCA Series. We start with Jack Wood, who's in the Pinnacle 28 car, which last year, with Brendan Butterbean Queen behind the wheel, won the championship. Jack sure had a quick car last weekend in Kansas. Can he get it back to the front? Garrett Mitchell, a.k.a. Cletus McFarland, along with his buddy Squirrel McNutt. Cletus will be in the 30 and McNutt will be in the 0. Gotta look out for that 55 of Isabella Robusto. That's going to be a quick car from Nitro Motorsports. Also, more Nitro cars. Jake Finch, Gus Dean, Thomas Annunziata from New Jersey should all have chances up front. 71 of Andy J, hoping for a better turnaround than happened last weekend at Kansas. 89, Bobby Dale Earnhardt, making his first start at Talladega, as crazy as that sounds. Can Bobby Dale drive it like his grandfather? Last but not least, the guy that won in Daytona and in Kansas at the ARCA Series, Gio Ruggiero. Who can stop Gio? Now, drivers to look out for: O'Reilly for Talladega, starting with the guy that won both races at Dega last year. He is Mr. Super Speedway in the O'Reilly/Xfinity cars. Austin Hill wins in the spring, and guess what? He wins in the fall. Another guy to look out for, and all three Jordan Anderson racing cars in all honesty, but they're headlined, of course, by Jeb Burton, who has 2 wins at Talladega previously. Blaine Perkins was 7th there in the spring. You also have Tyler Ankrum making his O'Reilly Series debut in the 32 car for Jordan Anderson. Can Tyler get up front? He has a lot of truck experience. Of course, can't count out the trusty veteran, 7, Justin Allgaier, was 4th in the spring, 3rd in the fall. And of course, Super Speedway racing, as we know, anything can happen. But a guy that is pretty good getting towards the front, Anthony Alfredo, and also his Viking Motorsports teammate, Parker Reslov. Each of those guys have good skills on the bigger tracks. Don't see why both Viking cars can't get in the top 10. Of course, still got the big names of Jesse Love in the number 2 RCR car, Sammy Smith in the 8 JRM car. Last but not least, we were just talking to their teammate, Sheldon Creed and Sam Mayer, especially with how good they've each been in the super speedways, paired alongside Haas Factory, should be up front battling for the win. Now, Cup Series drivers to look out for, Talladega. We'll start with some past recent winners of Talladega: Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Tyler Reddick, Ryan Blaney, all guys that are going to be in the mix. Also can't count out more Toyotas of Chase Briscoe, Bubba Wallace, Christopher Bell. We know what Hamlin has done in Daytona. Can he get towards the front in that 11? I sure think so. Just behind him, of course, William Byron in the 24, Chase Elliott, Hendrick Motorsports teammate. Then, of course, Hurricane Hocevar. A lot of people have been describing his style of racing to Dale Sr.'s. We know how dominant Sr. was at Dega. Does that transfer over for Hocevar? He was 6th in the spring and the fall in Dega. Can he crack the top 3 and contend? We were talking about his number 4 car, paint scheme of the week. That's driven by Noah Gragson. If Noah can stay out of trouble, that 4 car should be up front. And of course, the guy we were just chatting with, Cole Custer. Great stats on the super speedways. 13th last year, 5th in the fall. Also, 2 veterans that might not be thought about right away, but Brad Keselowski, Kyle Busch. We know what Brad can do, of course, on the bigger tracks, and Kyle too, but unfortunately for Kyle, he's just been bit by that bad luck and that RCR team, unfortunately, on the Cup side as well. Those are the guys I'll be looking out for. Let me know who you're looking out for. Stay active on the social medias. Now for Fast Davies bets. O'Reilly Series. Give me Jeb Burton top 5 at plus 156. Cup Fast Davies bets. Chase Briscoe top 10 is plus 110. He won this race in the fall. I'll take positive numbers with that one. Now for trivia answer time. This episode's question is: Jeff Gordon, Kevin Harvick, Jimmy Johnson, Kyle Larson, Joey Logano, all each have 3 wins at Kansas. There is one driver all time with 4 previous Kansas wins. Name that driver. Hint, he's currently full-time in the Cup Series. Answer, Denny Hamlin. Now, predictions for Dega. ARCA, he was up there battling with his teammate in Daytona in the ARCA Series, and that's Jake Finch. Think he scores the win at Dega. O'Reilly Series, can't pick against Austin Hill right now. Well, I'm sure not at least. Give me Austin Hill to win the O'Reilly Series race on Saturday. Cup, as we were just mentioning, so many good options to choose from. But I'm going to get tricky. Give me Ricky Stenhouse Jr. to get it done in Dega on Sunday. As always, we're sponsored by Magical Travel with Dave, aka Disney Dave Weichert, my father. He will be able to help you with all your Disney and Universal vacation needs. He can be reached at DisneyDaveW@Verizon.net. Please make sure you follow all the Splash of Gas social medias for midweek and on-track updates. Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube are all Splash of Gas with Dave Weichert. Hope everyone has enjoyed this episode and the chats with Tyler and, of course, Cole Custer. Hope everyone has a great weekend at Talladega if you're there and watching on TV if you aren't. Till next time, everybody, Splash of Gas out.